Yeah.
Okay, so welcome to the Dagoth Hour. I always forget if it's Dagoth or Dargoth. This is third time in a row now. Um, but I don't think we can start the show without talking about the big elephant in the room, which is basically I made the best fucking pasta bake you can absolutely imagine. It's
Tell,
a
tell me, tell me about it.
Well, basically, what I did is I crisped up all the vegetables. So, like, I'm cooking for one at the moment. So, when I put on the oven, it feels a bit of a waste to just, stick it in for one meal or anything like that. So I try and like get ahead of the game and like crisp up a few vegetables for something that I could use in a future meal. So I did that. And I
Hang on, when you say crisp up the vegetables, you mean like
roast
make
them.
like charred, like a little bit like crispy,
Yeah,
quick cooked, quick. Yeah, okay.
yeah, cooked and crispy. And then I put them into a vegan cheese sauce that was really good. And
Hmm.
then just whacked in the pasta and then baked it up. And I put in like a shit ton of herbs, right? Like loads of garlic. There were like literally two onions in it. I think is that a lot? That feels like a lot. Uh,
Depends how much you're making.
well, four portions. So
That seems good. Like half an onion per portion seems good. Yeah.
yeah, I suppose so. And also, what I did is I diced up some of the onions, and then I sprinkled them on top with like a loose amount of like vegan cheese, and it sort of glued together and crisped over nicely. The cheese was really more of an adhesive than anything else. Like usually I use like what's a brand called Via Life, which is a very soft, creamier kind of cheese. Like you might think of it as quite like an Edam kind of thing. Um,
Hmm.
so it really just sort of brings it all together. And for calling it cheese is a bit strange because it's like more of a creaminess to it with
Yeah.
and it
In
was
in vegan cheese, there must be some fat in there, right?
yes, vegan cheese are one of the more unhealthier of the vegan. Well, it depends. There's quite a few schools of cheese.
So is it just some kind of vegetable fat that's emulsified up into a like a margarine-ish kind of fat? I don't mean
Uh,
that to make it sound bad. Do you know what I mean?
no, well, I mean, I like margarine, but
Yeah.
I think a lot the Via Life ones. I think they use coconut. It's a coconut based cheese,
Okay. Yeah.
and coconut is quite fatty. But then on a vegan diet, like it's not really that hard to avoid fats in other areas.
Mm.
So
Oh yeah. No, I wasn't. I wasn't. I was. For me, fat is a good thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, exactly, and so yeah, I think like vegan cheese does get a bit of a bad press, and I think probably like I'm not necessarily equating it to
I
the
think the problem probably is the broad range of things which get like you see things that are made out of like mushrooms and nuts
mm,
described as vegan cheese. I'm like, as somebody who very much enjoys cheese, that if you gave me that and told me it was cheese, I would extradite you.
yeah. Well, I mean there are cashew nut based cheeses that I think are very nice. I mean they don't try and mimic cheese as much. So you might think of them as a nut spread, but that just doesn't sound as nice. Um,
This is probably a bit babyish question, but do you think is it possible to have ethical dairy? Could
uh,
could you run a farm such that you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I think. I mean, everyone's got their. Obviously, like morality in this
Yeah.
case is subjective. Like I always think, in like a post-apocalyptic situation,
Mm.
you can certainly do it with chickens and eggs. I think. If you've got a couple of
Mm.
chickens in the garden,
Yeah, yeah,
particularly
yeah,
rescue,
yeah.
I don't think it's. And my recalling of it is much more at the like as you think of when you think of the industrialized farming. Um,
Yeah.
probably.
I mean, I know like modern cows are literally. I mean, first of all, we have to force them to have calves every now and then
Hmm,
in order to keep producing milk, and the calves obviously we don't, they don't get to live
hmm,
for the most part. Um, and then they're sort of they're at the point where like if we don't milk them, they'll die. They've been
hmm,
bred. So yeah, not that breed of cow, obviously, but like a less efficient, older breed of cow that could survive. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know much about things like goat farming. I mean, maybe goat farming
Yeah,
is a bit. I like feta.
yeah.
When I
I
used
mean,
to eat cheese.
I
Yeah.
love goat's cheese. Yeah, and
I mean,
sheep's cheeses as well.
I've been to Greece quite a lot of times. My parents have a place over there, and there are goats all over the place, and they always seem to be having a grand
Yeah,
old
yeah.
time. Like it's.
They're
Yeah.
the first animal we domesticated.
Sorry.
The first animal we domesticated, leaving aside dogs and cats, which are a bit more complicated, but goats were the first
Hmm.
like farm animal that we domesticated.
Yeah, I
As
mean
humans, I mean.
that makes a lot of sense. I mean, they seem very low maintenance. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And the cow is the only one that was domesticated in Europe. All the others were imports from Asia.
Wow, that's well, yeah. I suppose that makes a lot of sense actually, because if you look at like technological advancement and agrarian society and all that kind of stuff, like sort of the area that is now like China was like quite ahead of the curve, right?
Well, it was Mesopotamia was
Oh
where
yes, of course,
farming.
yeah.
The Golden Crescent is where farming started,
Yeah.
and I think all of the animals, apart from the cow, I think come from there. I think all of the grains as well. Obviously, apart from maize, which is American.
Mm. Wow.
Not
So
not certain about the grains, but I think so.
that's all right. Someone will correct us in the comments. So
Yeah.
so now we've lost all our viewers talking about vegan stuff. Now we get to the nitty
My
gritty.
this is my budget living by microwave cooking meal. This is
Don't diss
okay.
the
So my,
microwave. The microwave is a beautiful invention.
yeah, but when all you've got is a microwave.
I reckon I could do a lot.
Um,
But yeah, carry on.
so I take baked potatoes. I take two
Hmm.
baked potatoes. I smush them up
Hmm.
and rip them apart, so they're just in little pieces.
Hmm.
A can of canned chili on top.
Hmm.
Mush it together. Microwave it for 3 minutes, and then a shit ton of cheese on top. Microwave it for 3 more minutes. Fucking delicious.
That's a bachelor's meal if ever there was one.
It really is. Yeah, yeah. It's a survival. That like post-apocalypse. That would be a fucking feast.
Yeah, yeah. If you could get a tinning machine in the apocalypse, a working, like a
Oh
canning.
God,
You
yeah.
could, yeah, yeah. See, because I think I mentioned it offline that I'm like writing a little bit of fiction. I don't think anything will become of it. Where it's set in a post-apocalyptic place, but it's not like dreary. It's relatively like it's about like people rebuilding and almost a bit of a start from scratch kind of thing. And there's like these post-apocalyptic professions that are like you can sort of see where they come from, but they're quirky and don't always make sense. Like a pickler. Like a pickler becomes like a type of
No, I love that.
and like an adhesive expert and things like that because repairing becomes so much more
Yeah, yeah,
prevalent.
yeah. Because it
And
wouldn't be like it's sort of like in the imagination. It's sort of like going back to like medieval times, but we
Mm.
wouldn't. I don't think we'd have a smith. It wouldn't be like
Oh, you'd have a metal
because we
worker,
like
right?
you'd have a metal worker, but I don't think you'd need somebody forging metal because we've got like this tool.
Yeah.
Like we have tools. All the
Mm.
tools we're just gonna get tools, right?
Yeah.
But we would want things repairing and things probably fashioning out of existing sheets of metal and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, so it also like it's like medieval, but also with and a lot of the professions like a big part of them is sourcing your materials.
yeah, yeah.
Although I suppose that would be the case with medieval stuff.
Have
But
you watched any Station 11?
no.
It's a post-apocalypse show where the post-apocalypse is not unpleasant, essentially in a
Oh.
notshell.
Yeah.
And I think I watched a few episodes and then I was like, I need to come back to this later when I can concentrate on it more. It's one of those shows.
Mm.
And I didn't actually go back to it, but I want to. And a couple of the episodes, I think one of the main characters just joins basically like a traveling theatre troupe,
Mm.
and they go around all the post-apocalyptic communities, like just putting on plays for them because we'd still want entertainment, and it's a really interesting show.
Yeah, yeah. See, because the
I
thing
think
is,
it's called Station 11 or Station 7.
that's-
I can't remember
that
which.
sounds really good. Is this going to be one of
I
those
think
things?
you like it.
every time I write something, then I always later on find out that someone else has had that idea and already
Oh
sort
yeah,
of
no, I
done
don't know. I didn't mean it like
but it
that. No,
might have
no, no,
been. But
no.
yeah, it's but I the thing about post-apocalyptic shows is that they can, you know, they can be a bit tragic, right? Where if you like, and of course, like that would be the logical sort of step to go. But as you see in a lot of like tragic events and disasters and stuff like that, like it often brings out the best in people, and people come together and, you know, put
I
aside
actually
the.
looked in. I looked into this a while because
Mhm.
I enjoy post-apocalypse shows, right?
Mm.
Um, and I was just thinking, like, it's like we so obviously do better when we cooperate. Would we
Mm.
really resort to banditry and not? Because in every post-apocalypse show, or most of them, it's like two groups of humans meet, and you know, there's distrust, and you know, like you know what I'm talking about, right? It's
Yeah.
almost like in The Walking Dead. It's like, you know, the zombies are bad, but it's the humans you've really got to fear.
Mm.
That kind of shit.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, would it really go that way? Because I mean, especially in a post-apocalypse situation, we were not really fighting over resources at that point. You know, assuming like
Mm.
say 90+ % of the population's dead, we're kind of back to pre-medieval, you know, pre-classical world situation where there was not really much contest for land or resources, and we were very peaceful for the most
Yeah.
part.
And
Anyway, so I looked into it, like how
Mhm.
people behave in, and the only data we've really got is how people behave in disasters
Mhm.
and post-disaster situations like earthquakes and hurricanes and stuff like that, where a community's cut off from the outside world and resources are scarce for a while.
Mm.
And all of the data suggests that people just in that situation behave selflessly. Like there's
Yeah.
countless of examples of people giving away their last bottle of water to somebody who needs it more and stuff like that. Um,
Mm.
yeah, so I need to find that again because it was a really interesting
Yeah.
read. Like it was, you know, it was a proper, you know, peer-reviewed study.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, all they've really got to go on is anecdotal stuff and reports and that. But yeah, as
Mm.
far as they could tell, like almost universally,
Mm.
people behave selflessly and cooperatively.
Yeah, I suppose it's one of those things where it's hard to put into quantitative data. But
Yeah.
I live in an area where there is more than a few rivers, so flooding is something that we live with on a year by year
Mm.
basis. And every now and then it gets really bad, and every single time without fail people come together. You know, often like Welsh Water often are involved because there's like water pumping stations and stuff that happens. There are people the other side of the country that volunteer to come down and like help and assist in what they can. And sometimes it involves just supplying bottled water to houses that have had water supplies cut off and things like that. That's if it gets really bad. And then there are people that, like, you know, they make space on their drive for you know,
Yep.
vehicles, and you know, people just
Mhm.
generally do what they can.
I think
And
that's. I think if it was post, I think that's how we'd be. I think
mm,
we'd. Yeah, I think we'd work. And you know, you'd be a little bit nervous when you met another group of people, but we'd realize that, you know, we want to, like, you might have things that we need, and we've got things that you need. You know.
yeah, and at the worst case scenario, you go your separate ways, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And in
Why
many
risk?
like in many
You can go on.
ways,
Yeah.
like we live, you know, we live like that day to day, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, that we sort of forget because of like social norms and what have you. We actually kind of forget how much of our social contracts just rely on us being decent to each other in person. Which,
Including politics. And
yeah,
I think like, not to accidentally bring this back on topic, but I think part of what's happened post Trump and post Brexit is just people who are not willing to obey the niceties.
mm. And
And I think that's changed things. I actually don't want to go out into politics because I'm enjoying where we're going without politics, but I do think that's the thing.
kind of because I think about this, and I don't want to sound like a boomer or a luddite when I say this, but I don't think social media helps in this regard. Saying this on social media right now, because when I see like local hustings and debates, or even just talking to, you know, even like people I disagree with, sure, we have our disagreements, but like it's never ever ever as catty as it can easily get online. When you're there and you're talking to people.
I think that is that phenomenon of when you're talking to somebody online, you kind of forget that it's a human being
Exactly,
with, you
yeah.
know, feelings and blah 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 blah. And you know, I've been on like in the past, I belonged to, like, you know, back in the day, belonged to internet forums,
Mm,
and you know, in that forum to be like two or three people who really don't get on with two or three other people.
Mm.
And they'll snipe at each other, insult each other. Like the community's
Yeah.
okay, but there's a bit of bickering between these two groups.
Mm.
And then the forum will have inevitably have a real world meeting and everyone to get together. And then in real life, those people get on fucking great.
Yeah.
And I think that, I think I don't think the social media thing makes people behave worse in person.
No.
Whereas I think like the way capitalism and the way societies are structured and all of we've got to be got to be worried about crime all the time. Don't trust that homeless person; they'll just spend it on blah blah. All those kind of like things that that capitalism instills in people. I think they make us behave. They're the only thing that make us behave poorly towards each other.
Well, social media crystallizes this really well insofar that, like, as long as people are engaging, the social media companies are winning. So if people go on Twitter, X, or anything else to bicker, then that doesn't matter. It's clicks, it's views, it's they're looking at the ads. It's it's a sort of a melting pot of a perfect storm, and there we go, mixing my metaphors of just like being an unfortunate forum to hash out differences. When you're sharing stuff that you love and you're on the same part, social media is the most beautiful thing imaginable. But when you're trying to hash out like differences that do affect people's lives in meaningful ways,
although I think you're 100% right, but I also think, because we all know Twitter's set up for that, I think that conditions people's behavior to an extent. Because even like we've sort of mentioned this, like coming up against like without wanting to be unkind, stupid fucking libs in conversations recently on Fedi. But even my conversations with them have not had the sort of tone. It's had a tone of like, I disagree with you, but I'm not like, it's pointless arguing, let's just leave it there kind of thing, rather than how it would go on Twitter.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think people are coming to it because people know that Fedi is supposed to be a nice place. So they're coming, there's almost, essentially it's just conformity, right? Like you want to adhere to the social rules of the place. That's I mean, you could say that as being, weak willed or whatever, but we humans, we're social monkeys, essentially, right? So that's instilled on us. So, you come to a place, these are the expectations, and to some extent, you're going to try and most people adhere to those expectations, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do genuinely think that not having an algorithmic feed helps with that, because you're seeing a more truer picture. The more truer picture you can see of the other people, then that's better. Also, I think that there's like I think a lot of people are drifting off social media in general. When people talk, I always thought is a bit of a redundant conversation when people talk about the next Twitter, because I mean, first off, as we've talked about several times, Twitter was never really that populous to begin with. It was just the media bubble and the billionaires and all that kind of stuff. But also, like, I think that people aren't necessarily hungry for another Twitter. They had Twitter went the way that Twitter did, and they go, all right, I'll go outside now and have a barbecue. And I think a lot of people just don't use social media the same way. Yeah. Or that social media is being replaced by Discord chat rooms and WhatsApp groups and Telegram. And, that
I think that's the right way to look at it. Yeah, because we were never like, what's going to replace the internet forum? It's just certain things did replace different aspects. I mean, they still exist, but they're not what they used to be, right? So, Discord has replaced some part of what that gave me. Fedi has replaced other parts, and, so on. These things, you don't wholesale replace things with other things that have a similar form, but because what's the point of that?
Yeah. And also the thing about Twitter that I mean, oh my god, I've completely lost my thread now. I was just like, I'm just getting outraged by Twitter at this point. Now let's should we talk about...
I was frustrated that somebody interesting. There was somebody who seemed interesting on a Navarra thing as a guest, speaking about something they were an expert in, right? And I was just like, I'll look them up, see what they do. And obviously, type their name, and first link I get is their Twitter link, to Twitter profile. I click on it. I literally can't see it. You can't see even somebody's fucking profile. You can't see it if you're not logged in.
Oh, wait, I know the thing I was outraged about. Yes, it was literally blind outrage that made me lose my thread. Right. So with no input from me, every now and then I'll check in on it because I'm like I need I'm contractually obligated to keep a Twitter open for work. I private it. I don't use a profile picture. I literally am sort of trying to use it. I don't even use my surname or anything on it. Like it's literally just the bare minimum to satisfy my job, right? But I do log in from time to time because I do like it gives me a good view from the media bubble, and if I want a media bubble perspective on something, then I will go to Twitter. But every time I go, oh, I've got 20 notifications, and every single one of those notifications, without fail, is a tweet from someone who I never followed, never liked, never retweeted, or whatever the word is over there. Have never engaged with before. Peter fucking Mandelson showed up on my notification feed. Why? Thought we were done with you, but So I'm like, I can't use this. I can't, like, this is a level of user hostile that I find comical in a way. It's just like,
it's got the similar feel to how I feel about there being ads in like the Windows 10, 11 start menu.
That's insane. Yeah.
I don't understand how people like. I was a Windows user back in the day, right? I used Windows. I kind of hate Windows, but I don't. On a fundamental level, I don't hate Windows. It's just, but as soon as my operating system starts advertising to me, I'm done. I'm going somewhere else. Like I'm not using that.
That's insane. How do you feel about it when like Ubuntu say something on the command line about is it Ubuntu Landscape or Canonical Landscape or something like that?
Don't know what that is, but I would honestly, I would feel the same way about that. I don't this is like a bit of an old man complaint, but back in the day, do you remember television?
Yes, that was the box in the room.
Yeah, it was like a visual version of radio that had a brief period of popularity in the 20th century. Towards the end of that, you're watching the BBC, which, one part of the pleasure of watching the BBC, kind of the only pleasure towards the end of watching the BBC was no fucking adverts, right? But then BBC would just start advertising its own stuff.
Yeah.
And there'd be almost as many adverts on the BBC as there were on commercial television just for their other programs and stuff. And I fucking hated that. Like, that's what I don't want. Why are you doing this?
It's pollution, really, because there's no there's no benefit to you for watching. I mean, not really, is there?
Before I forget, because rage. This is gamery, and I apologise for that. But on Steam, when there'll be a thing at the top saying, "Check out these games made by I don't know Koreans," or it varies, right? Like check out these cool Korean games. Like, okay, cool. I'd like to play some Korean games. That's interesting. I look through and that's an interesting game. Click on it. Not released yet. Why are you showing me games? Oh, fucking release.
Shapes 2.
You saying to me, here's some cool games to play. Oh, sorry, you can't play that.
Yeah. That's an absolute tease, yeah. And also
while I'm on a roll, you know when they added in Steam that thing at the top that's like notifications for games, but you can say you're not interested or whatever.
Yeah.
When they use that for say this game I really like, and I'm like, okay, I'll leave their notifications up top. So if they've got a notification, I'll learn about it, because I'm interested in this game. But the devs, or I guess the publisher, will use that to say we've released a different game.
Yeah,
that doesn't count as a notification for that fucking game. That is an abuse of that system.
Yeah. It's like on the NordVPN app on my Android. It told me about a special offer through a notification. Like, the fuck, I'm already giving you money. So
yeah,
I think if I ever become dictator or whatever, or king or whatever, right? I'm going to put in some fucking like absolutely hardline trading standards, right? If you're paying for something, it can't come for adverts, and if you're advertising something, it has to be free, right? No mixing and matching there. End of, right?
Yeah.
No pressured advertising. No like, oh, you save 60%, specific, especially on a service, right? It's no save 50% off if you pay for a year up front. No, it costs what it costs. You can pay either monthly or yearly.
I mean, even more so on something like a VPN that's supposed to sort of. I mean, it's just a conduit.
Yeah.
It's not even a thing. It's not a website. It's not, it's like, if that's advertising to you, that's doing something with your network that you didn't consent to.
Yeah. And so it's yeah, like I absolutely yeah, and coercive. I don't like the coercive pricing and things like that as well. Like I think I'd almost always just ban special offers.
They only benefit richer people. Like, my internet's been flaky, as you know,
Mm,
and it cut out completely a while back. And then it did it again a few weeks ago. And I was toying with that thing you can get through. It's not BT anymore, but the EE thing where you can pay a certain amount, and you basically get on somebody's router who has EE as their provider, or BT.
all right,
But
yeah.
basically, every BT router has a portion of their connection that people who pay this thing can join, right? Essentially.
Hmm.
Um, and it was like, I think it was something along the lines of like £5 for an hour, £10 for a day, £30 for a week, or £40 for a month. Um, and it just benefits people who can afford the more expensive. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's just another thing that's just punishing and taxing poor people, basically. Because I was like,
yeah.
I can't afford a month, but it's
Mm,
stupid not to. But blah blah blah.
exactly, yeah. I
Ended up
honestly,
not
yeah,
getting it.
yeah. I just think something like it's coercive pricing. Basically, I put a ban on
Mm.
coercive pricing, because I many times, like with anything, like I'm an Amazon Prime subscriber for all my sins. I hate Amazon as a company, but when you live out in the sticks, it kind of is a godsend, especially when. And my
Yeah.
dad uses this as an example, right? That is kind of to me mind blowing, right? So I live in a town with a high street. You cannot buy a pair of
Yeah.
pants. You cannot buy a pair of men's pants
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
high
yeah,
street. And I'm like, you know what?
yeah.
I just have to accept that the high street is just it's just a couple of coffee shops and some estate agents and a betting shop and a charity shop, right? Like that's the high street now. I find it a bit strange that councils insist on throwing gobs of money at trying to save businesses that clearly don't want to survive. Um, you know, I don't, I know a lot of people sort of, I know that the high street is very accessible to a lot of people who, for one reason or another, struggle with the internet and all that kind of stuff. But, it does feel like,
The high street should go back to what high streets were before, sort of, commerce, but not commerce,
yeah,
but you know what I mean,
yeah,
mass commerce. What I don't understand, but like it should be like more public libraries,
hmm,
more public spaces, more sort of like you could have like shared workspaces for like makers and
hmm,
artists and just like stuff like that, and
mm,
yeah, and communal, like little communal kitchens and stuff like that,
yeah.
like
Or
just actual communal spaces, not commercial spaces. That'd be fucking
yeah,
cool.
or like a market square. Like have a purpose-built market square because our market is in a fucking car park, and it's like so it's getting rid of car parking
Yeah.
spaces for people that would otherwise drive to them. Like like just have it, or, yeah, basically, yeah, like I mean, I always think, what if they took the money, and it's a lot of money that they put into High Street in terms of like
Mm,
reviving it and all that kind of stuff. What if they put that into parks or libraries? I mean, in particular,
mm.
I think of
I mean, the
parks.
difference is that they get taxed from businesses. Is the difference there? That they're putting money to it because they want to, you know,
Yeah, but all these
sort
businesses
of.
are failing, so I don't know how much
Yeah, no, it's
tax
not.
money they
Yeah,
want.
yeah, that's yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
you can even see some every now and then there'll be like a business that opens up, and it'll be lucky if it lasts a year. So
yeah.
I'm querying as to whether or not I think it's a nostalgia thing from older people, because of course councils have a lot of older people on them, because even you got your local sort of town and parish councils, they're all voluntary based, so that means that most people on them are going to be either retired or wealthy. The
Yeah.
county councils, they get like a stipend here of about 14,000. So that means that that's like people who, again, it still leans towards people who are either part-time workers,
Is that what you
farmers.
get for being on a county council?
If you don't sit on any of the committees, you get a little boost if you're on the committees. You can get quite a lot if you're
I
like the chair.
I didn't know. I assumed that was like a normal paying job.
No, it's 40. It's supposed to be part-time.
Yeah,
I think
no, no.
different councils have different sort of rates of pay, but I think ours is about 40. It's probably gone up a little bit by now, 14, 15. But the thing is, like, councils are, of course, a lot more close to the people. So whenever they try and give themselves a pay rise, they always get a lashing for it. So and it's never a popular look to raise the way. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I
But
think,
like you say, that just means only wealthy people, or
yeah.
yeah,
I, I,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I think maybe all public office. Well, I don't know. Like that, it's a little bit of I don't know. I kind of think all public officers should just be paid the median wage or something. Does that? Does that?
Yeah, or at least a living wage plus a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Sort of. Yeah, just so much that anyone can
Yeah.
survive off of it. But then again, I suppose in a
I had
world
no,
of
I had no idea. I'd always thought it was. I always thought it was, a kind of like a medium wage kind of job. Not great, but a decent living.
yeah, well,
I
a
had
lot.
no idea.
I mean, a lot of it depends on things like so. If you're in the governing party or whatever the council equivalent is, the council party, the one that makes up the council. A lot of your councillors are going to be on committees, and they get extra for committees. So you can get
Yeah.
local councillors that earn like 80,000 a year, or in that ballpark. And also, by the way, it's a rural council that I'm in. So I think city councils, they tend to, because there's a lot more involved with the work. Although it's a unitary authority around here, so it still is on the low side. But there have been people on my local council that have been living on 14,000 a year, who aren't that particularly wealthy. So
Yeah. I mean, I could easily live on 14,000 a year. I spend fuck all, but
it's not easy, and it shouldn't be
yeah,
expected.
yeah, it's not. Yeah, I mean, certainly, if you've got dependents and stuff.
I don't know what's minimum wage now. Is it like 17,000 a year or something here? Please, I hope it's that much.
It's giving me the hourly.
What's the hourly now?
National Minimum, 20 for 21 and over, 11.44.
Okay.
What's the working year in hours?
Oh, what's 48 times 52, right?
I'm gonna.
Oh,
Well, no, because you don't work. You have the holidays, right?
oh, there's holidays. Yeah, yeah.
Working year in hours. Full time, first week, 1,800. This says.
Okay. I mean,
So 1,800.
obviously, I'd like it to be higher, but I don't feel that's disastrous for a
That would be 20 grand.
20 grand. Yeah,
That's really not a lot, is it?
it's not a lot if you want to. It's not a lot if you want to buy a house. It's not a lot if you want to live on your own. I think if you yeah, it is pretty. Yeah, I mean, I generally always feel that the minimum wage should be higher. That's just generally how I feel. So I don't know whether or not to make of that as like, well, of course it's too low. Like I don't even know what the minimum wage would be. See, this is why I think this is why I struggle having that hardline political ideology, because I know the direction I want to move in. I just don't know the destination, right? I don't know what.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I mean, I'm it sounds like dickish to say, but I'm more of a communist. I'm more committed to that as a whatever. But I'm still, in terms of how I would vote for any party that actually wants to do something, in that direction. And I'm not talking about like Starmer just fiddling with slightly lower taxes, whatever. I don't mean that. I mean actual structural stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I was having a bit of a political argument with someone on Fedi about this, being like, I was like sort of theorizing that actually the two-party system, which is sort of inherent in first past the post, kind of is just a bit awful, and I think is probably responsible for more problems than we give it credit for, because it first of all it pits us against each other, right? Because when you've got two sides, right, it ain't the marketplace of ideas that democracy is supposed to be, right? Like you're supposed to, democracy, ideally a good healthy democracy should be like shopping with your taxes, right? Oh, that party wants to raise taxes but put that money into healthcare. That party wants to particularly tax the billionaires and put that straight into the education system. That party thinks that lower taxes will stimulate business and all that kind of stuff. And you're supposed to look at these parties and say, well, I agree with that, it's not supposed to, but when you've got a two-party system facilitated by first past the post, it always seems to turn into a situation of good versus evil. And then, for example, in the States, you've got Democrats which are telling us how evil the Republicans are, so you have to vote for them because they're evil. And I bet on the Republicans.
Over here and previously in the US, though, it wasn't like It wasn't like Labour said the Tories were evil and Tories said Labour were evil. Like the Tories kind of accepted that they were the evil ones. Do you know what I mean? Like in an almost pantomime way. Like, yeah, we're the
Yeah.
baddies, but
You look at
we're
Jacob
going to punish
Rees-Mogg
you.
and
We're
you
just
think,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
But I think it's like, as we were talking about earlier, like humans are best when we're working together, not when we're pitted against each other, right? So I always feel like modern
Mm.
parliaments like PR, where they're sitting around in a horseshoe actually talking about stuff, seems to me to make a lot more sense on how to run a country like grown-ups than you look at like the House of Commons and Prime Minister's questions. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some things that I like about Prime Minister's questions. I do like the fact that the opposition gets to really hold the government to account in that way in the public forum, but it does come back to being a bit pantomimey at the end of it.
I have two things to say about this. Firstly, I think I think the two-party thing is a problem. I agree with you that like a broader selection of ideas would be a more healthy thing, and more having to work together, more like we agree on these things, so let's work together for those things, you know, in a kind of, you know, ad hoc kind of way. I think that would be a good thing. But I think that I don't think the problem with politics in the West in general, well, it's less that and more just it's the funding and the lobbying.
Yes.
It's the fact that these parties don't represent, not even try, because there are so many popular policies that on paper would be good for either party. I mean, UBI is an extreme example, but things just like, you know, everybody's now in favour of renationalising water, right?
Yeah.
But no party who could actually get elected to government wants to do it because they don't actually represent the people. They represent profit. They represent the profit of billionaires and, you know, capital, essentially. And that is the problem.
Yes, but the two-party system is a great conduit for that. So it's, you know, because it's basically like controlled opposition or laundering of responsibility. So you have two parties that do, with the two-party system, they basically take it in turns for power. Is that really a democracy when they're just taking it in turns? And then one party will.
And then they're both representing neoliberalism. It's, again, I don't want to get too deep into China, but, you know, people with a sort of liberal mindset look at China and go, that's not democratic. You can't be democratic with one party. But I'd rather have one party that represents the people than two parties that represent the same interests of capital.
Yeah. No, like a one-party system would be infinitely better than a two-party system because they don't have that ability to launder their reputation. You know who's in charge, and you know it's up to them to fix it, right? It can't be like I remember being massively frustrated when David Cameron was Prime Minister, and he was for years and years and years, he was like, I inherited the worst government from Labour. My God, man, you've been in fucking Parliament for like 5 years. Like, how the hell are you still doing this? And so I think
the Tories would do that when each new leader, and you know they had a lot of new leaders in this last period. They would sort of pretend like they hadn't been in charge for the previous, 12 years.
Yeah.
And go like, everything's a fucking mess. I don't know what they've been doing, but I'm here with the Tories to sort it out. So weird.
Yeah. And it's that. So like, but I would also reserve that in China, they probably still have a broader selection of things to choose from, even from like within their own party, right? Because you go directly to representatives. I mean, as I understand it, the one-party system in China kind of is almost the same thing as getting rid of the party system. It's sort of they're sort of functionally distinct. Because a lot of people say, oh well, if we ban political parties, they'll just be like underground factions and things like that. And I'm almost certain there'll be factions within the CCP in the same way that there are factions within the Labour Party and the Conservative Party and all that kind of stuff, right? But having looser factions that work on an ad hoc basis within a party makes a lot more sense to me than having well, the two-party system just seems the worst version of this. Because it's
the second thing I was going to say in response to what you were initially saying is it's kind of how they envisaged it. The founding fathers in America, I don't think there were any who diverged from this. Like they didn't foresee there being political parties because they were, they kind of thought that political parties were a symptom of like essentially like a British parliamentary system with, you know, you've got the Tories representing the landowners and the Whigs representing the mercantile class, and you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the parties stem from this aristocratic. I might have had that the wrong way around, but from this aristocratic circumstances, basically, right? But they were all like, no, this is we're all equal over here. We're all, you know, liberal men of the Enlightenment. We all fundamentally agree. So elections will just be a contest of competency. Is how they sort of, they wouldn't necessarily put it in those words, but that's how they saw it. They thought that their whole political electoral system, they were all quite sure that parties were unnecessary and wouldn't emerge. And I mean, that shows in the original version of the Constitution, the vice president was just the person who came second in the election. So now it would be, you know, in the upcoming election, Trump with Biden as vice president. Or
it's like when it's like when Biden had that gaffe when he called Trump his VP. It's like, well, maybe he's just old enough to remember those days, right? Like, it's like, it's, oh my god,
yeah. But yeah, no, they really didn't think, you know. And then immediately, I mean, people say that George Washington was a non-party, you know, sort of apolitical president, but no, he towed the Federalist line. He entirely towed. No, sorry, the anti-Federalist line. He was very much partisan, and political parties sprung up very quickly because they are necessary to represent different interests within society.
Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, because we were sort of praising the, you know, come at us Fediverse. We were praising the Chinese system. At least somebody representing those diverse interests is necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, should we talk about the general election? What we had over here, and because we've been planning to do a post-mortem on this for ages. I mean, the big takeaway from the election is that Labour won a lot of seats with not that many votes, right? If we were to cut to the chase, this is kind of. I mean,
the headline is, and what doesn't really get, they touch on it every now and then, but they don't really talk, because they, in terms of absolute votes, they did worse than Corbyn in 2019, which was like, you know, a fucking failure. So the headline really is the Tory vote was split. That's it.
Yeah. So I thank you to Nigel Farage for doing that for us. Thank you. Good one, Nigel. Yeah, like
but what Labour don't seem to realise, I hope they do realise, but they don't seem to realise, is that that's not going to last forever.
No, Starmer must know this is a gift, right? He's a bright man, right? Like, he must know that there's a very high possibility that he might be a one-term prime minister. And I think he does know this, because he's kind of gotten started pretty quickly. Like, he worked through the weekend after the election, which, as I understand, is quite rare. Yeah,
and some of the stuff they're doing is like have you been following the hiring of Timpson?
So I've heard people mention it.
So he is, you know, do you know Timpson's as a business?
I know Timpson's as a business. I know their philosophy. I know that they're one of
okay. So they do dry cleaning, key copying, and shoe repair.
Yeah, and they do
very weirdly.
And they do your passport photo, and they send it off to the passport office. It's like a really good service. So they do a lot of weird, like, random shit, but it's really good.
Timpson, the person who owns the business, Timpson, is very concerned with prison reform, and one of the things they offer as a business is, if you're an ex-con and you're going for a job interview, they will dry clean your suit for free, which is cool, you know.
Yeah, it's not cheap to get a dry, you know.
No, I think that's a really nice thing to do. But so he's very interested in prison reform, and his headline idea, or you know, the way he presents his idea simply is that. A third of people in prison just shouldn't be in prison. A third probably should, and the third in the middle, you know, is a bit more complicated and needs, you know, blah blah blah. So, you know, which is, by today's standards, that's quite a strong reformist position, and he's been put in charge of whatever position gets put in charge of prisons, which is pretty cool.
And he's not an MP, right?
No.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
No, he's not an MP.
Oh, okay, interesting. I mean, I seem to like agree with that. Like, I think you should generally only go to prison if you're a literal danger to society. Literal if you're a dangerous person, right?
Yeah, we're probably going to disappoint people that I don't think either of us are full-on abolitionists with prisons. I think ultimately I would want to completely be rid of prisons, but I think it's going to be a bit of a long road getting there. I don't think we can just be rid of prisons with the society that we've got now. I don't think that would be a good idea.
No, and also like I mean I don't know much about the prison system, but I think like the thing is about prison that interests me is that it's very easy, especially politically, to like denigrate people in prison, right? Like no, there's so few people there willing to like stand up for like the rights of prisoners, and it's like we should still treat them like human beings, regardless of what they've done. A human like
That's the thing. Yeah, no. If you wanna trim a budget, like the first place you cut is prisons because who's gonna fucking complain that you care about?
yeah, but they're not human rights if they don't apply to every single human, right? The clue is in the name.
No, no, I absolutely agree. Yeah,
And
part of his thing is and I've agreed with this forever. Prisons should not be about punishment. I
no,
think, in this isn't his words, but in my words, prison should be used to. I don't think it should be a deterrent either. I think prison should only be used to keep people out of society who will be a danger to people,
yeah,
basically.
yeah, absolutely.
And I don't care if they can be luxurious. I don't care. They can literally be nicer than my house, nicer than the average person. I don't care.
But
That's fine.
you don't make people safer by treating them like animals, right? Like,
No, no,
but
no. It's the idea that like the desire, like the desire to punish people. I just think is it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Why do you want to do that?
It reminds me a little bit of. Have you seen the Beauty and the Beast cartoon, Walt Disney?
The Disney, yeah.
Yeah. When I think of that kind of vibe, I think of Gaston and the angry mob and the torches and the pitchforks,
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, they're not particularly bright, but they feel like it's like.
Well, I understand, like on an interpersonal, not even interpersonal, on a personal, if somebody harms your relative, you as a human being reacting as a human being, you want to see, you want them to be. I understand that, of course, that's an emotional response, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the state, and the state is there to sort of ideally curb our more animal instinct.
Yeah, but what do we do to right wrongs in that regard, right?
I mean, I don't think you can write that. If somebody's murdered somebody you love, that cannot be righted. That is a deeply unfortunate thing. But it's not. It's apart from taking that person out of society to keep other people safe. If that's an appropriate thing to do, I don't think it's the state's responsibility to really. Support, and stuff, but it can't make it up to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it can't make it. I mean, yeah. I mean, I suppose
like all the counselling support, time off work, income support, whatever, all of that stuff that you need, of course. But
yeah,
it can't. Yeah,
I suppose in cases of like non-violence, you could settle things with damages, right?
Yeah, and there can be civil cases for damages and stuff, right? That's a separate thing.
That's just like square in the books and yeah. But yeah, no, and it is very hard. But I've been sort of people I know have been the victim of some horrendous crimes, and I've never felt like like the idea of revenge would ever fix anything, right? Like, and I don't know. It's one of those ones where anyway, I'm glad to see Timpson do it. I'm a big fan of the business,
and they've already because basically the Tories completely fucked up the prison. They're underfunded. And they keep being tough on crime. So more and more people in prison, fewer and fewer places in prison, worse and worse conditions. So Labour have just, I think they've instituted a 40% thing where if people have served, if they're non-violent and they've served 40% of their sentence, they're just letting them out. Which that's good.
Yeah, I think it's it'd be nice if it was like. I did my dissertation at university on the death penalty, and well, basically whether or not it was effective. And the thing is, with a lot of crimes, particularly premeditated ones, but in general, uh, it's very hard for the most part to deter against crimes because most people don't think they're going to end up in
Mm,
prison. Like it's just not part
mm.
of that thought process. Either people.
Either you're desperate enough that you don't care,
Mm,
if you're poor and you're brought up in such a way to believe that crime is your only avenue towards having any kind of standard of living, then it's kind of irrelevant. Like you bank on not getting caught, right?
yeah, or it's a situation where you catch your wife in bed with another man, you kill the other man in a fit of range. Like nothing's
Yeah,
gonna, nothing.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it was very easy to prove that if you're going to be deterred by a life sentence, you'll be deterred by a death penalty. But in a lot of cases, there weren't. There, when looking at cases in the states in particular, because some states have the death penalty, some states don't. There was like only one recorded case of murderers going over to another state because of the death penalty, and even then, that was
Right.
pretty speculative, right? Like it was,
Right. Yeah,
it
yeah,
was a
yeah.
defense they used in court, whether or not it
No,
was something
yeah,
that
I think it's very. And I've definitely talked about it, and this is the most vapid of points, but I don't understand how the Republicans can be a pro-life party on abortion, but be in favor of the death penalty. I can't square that. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
No. Well, I think I don't know. I mean, if the Democrat perspective is they just want to punish women, and they
No,
and
yeah, no, I know, of course, but I just mean on a basic sort of philosophical level,
on a
like
logical level.
more just philosophical. How do you square that in your own head? I mean, particularly for the people who are genuinely coming that, because like the Catholic Church
Mm,
does a lot wrong, right? It
mm,
still has a lot of very wrong opinions, but it's unimpeachable on life, right? Yeah, yeah, anti-abortion because of that, but also very much anti-death sentence, right? Like that's a
mm.
consistent position, sort of, if you acknowledge that a fetus is a human being, which blah blah blah.
Yeah. I
But
suppose
from there, philosophically, that is a cohesive position. Whereas the evangelical Christian right, being anti-abortion but pro-death penalty, I don't see how you get there from that religion. Like, what are you
I
doing?
I imagine it's something to do with a baby doesn't get a choice to be born, but a person has a choice to commit a crime worthy of the death penalty,
But if you're
right?
coming at it from a religious point of view, where it's just about the sanctity of life, that's not valid.
I mean, they talk about the death penalty in the Bible, right?
But you'd have to go Old Testament. Like Jesus certainly wasn't in favor of the death penalty, and vengeance is the Lord's alone, right?
I suppose. I mean, it's been a long time since I cracked open a Bible.
You're not Catholic enough.
No, no. Well, certainly not. No. Um. Also, glad to see. Okay, right. Unpopular opinion here. I'm glad to see Ed Miliband in the cabinet, and I think he was quite good at Shadow Environment Secretary. And he's
I've got a soft spot for Ed Miliband. Yeah, I'm on board with
mm,
that.
honestly, I think he would have been a decent prime minister, and I think
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, decent in terms of like he's obviously not going to be as left wing as either of us, or maybe deep down he is. I mean, he comes from relatively left roots, but
I think he, yeah, yeah, no roots are, yeah, but I think he'd be at least, if he just went with his heart kind of thing. I think he'd be
mm,
decently like social democratic for sure.
yeah, and I think he was his PR team were awful in the same way that Corbyn's
I mean,
PR
part
team.
of it, I was trying to remember why I didn't vote for Miliband, and I remembered it's the Gulf War. I was like, I'm not voting for that fucking party that took us into the Gulf War, right? I
Mm,
didn't even pay much attention to the election because of that.
yeah,
So yeah, I wonder how much that was a thing as well.
yeah. Do you mean specifically a Gulf or Iraq?
Iraq, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, Iraq was my first. That was the thing. That was my first political. Like, that was the first march I went on. That was the first thing that I got involved with. So it was obvious.
It was my second. The first was the Criminal Justice Act, as it was then, or bill, as it was then,
Ah.
which was the one that they brought in to ban raves.
Oh,
That
right.
was my first political protest, or
Mm,
on the lowdown riot.
yeah. But yeah, I suppose the Iraq will be in my first thing. It definitely spurned me against Labour in a way that I felt
Mm,
probably wasn't constructive, probably past Ed Miliband. Yeah, like. But yeah, in hindsight of all of that, I don't. Yeah, he probably would have been a pretty decent. Certainly would have been better than the Tories. That's
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
It's good to see him. I don't mind Angela Rayner. I think she's not too bad. So I can't. I don't know who else is in the cabinet now.
You know, I can't fucking stand.
Who's that?
I'm gonna struggle with the name now. Oh God. She was an MP under Blair. Yvette
Yvette Cooper.
Let me just check. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. God. She just comes across like she's a bit Liz Trushish. She's a bit like literally like a Muppet.
I have a soft spot for Liz Truss though.
But not Yvette Cooper. But Yvette Cooper, whenever she does, she just sounds. I'm not sure she's not. I don't think you can be and get to that position. But she just seems so stupid.
I'm just looking at the map to try and find if the Conservatives actually won any seats.
Anywhere.
Anywhere.
Right, they won a few.
Did they? I don't see them on the map. I mean, no, won a few that from another party.
Oh no, yeah, no. I checked that on the morning after. Yeah, no, I checked that. They literally had no gains.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's amazing, right?
Is that the first time that has ever happened?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was that. Yeah.
That's
because even in the landslides, you get some weird Tories gain something from the Lib Dems or the SNP or
yeah. So
I think there was one. I think it was that one that was very late, right? That they might have gained from the SNP, but the Lib Dems got it or something like that. I can't remember. I was up late watching that.
So for those wondering on the map, I'm sure some of you have probably already worked it out. The reason why there still looks like there's a decent amount of blue on the map is because Conservative constituencies tend to be rural, and rural constituencies tend to be bigger because it's supposed to be drawn.
Yeah, can you go to the hexagonal one like they have on the FT, or does it not have that? Because that really puts it into perspective.
Let me. How do I do a new tab in here? This is a new. This is. I'm using. This is. Epiphany Gnome Web.
Try Control T.
Control T. All right, I've got it. Yeah. Okay. So, hexagonal map.
The FT one. Just do an FT election map. That will get you there.
EFT election map or FT?
No, FT. Financial Times.
Financial Times. Yeah. Right, here we go. Predict live results, Financial Times. This looks like it, right?
Yeah, there you go. So that's defaulted to the thingy one.
There we go. And well, it's squares. You okay with squares?
Squares is good. Yeah.
Squares is good. Okay. So
it's quite a landslide, isn't it?
Yeah.
On such a low. So the turnout was low as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was very low turnout.
My constituency had the highest turnout in Wales, and it was still down by 1%.
What was the turnout? About
68?
It was more than 50%, wasn't it?
Yeah, 68.
No, I don't think. No, it wasn't.
I mean nationwide.
Everywhere.
It should be.
Was it high 50s?
Is it here?
Let's see it there. That's an old Google.
And that's all the changes. They usually have that like right at the top. Oh, I'll show more parties. Monster Raven Looney Party had a good turnout. I think they beat a few. I think there was a few Reform candidates or something. So yeah, Reform end up with 5.
Did they really?
I think I think they got higher than a couple of. They often in some seats like Monster Raven Looney Party do weirdly well. I don't know if it's like. I don't know why, but yeah, I think is it the baked beans guy? Did he do like surprisingly well or something?
Turnout 59.9%. So yeah, just under 60. So
Mm.
so 30% of 60% of people who can vote voted for the Labour Party, and now they've got a massive majority.
Well, yeah, 33.3% of the vote was
So,
Labour.
so 15-ish, say 15-ish% of the eligible electorate voted for this party, and now they are in dominant control of the government. There, something seems a bit off. Have you got to hand the any of the comparisons between share of the popular vote and number of seats? Because that's interesting.
I'll have a look. Right, share of the... let's see. General election results in... Oh, the BBC have done results in map and charts.
Yeah, I want specifically popular vote versus number of seats, which is there you go. That's
There
it.
we go.
Yeah. So Labour massively. The Tories are about like theirs is about right?
Well, 24 to 19. It's, you know, the Lib
Yeah,
Dems
I mean,
might be
it's
the
small pot.
closest. I think the
Lib Dems are the closest, yeah, but Labour massively skewed
yeah.
one way, and then of course Reform really bad
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
those terms, right? And
Yeah.
you know the Greens
yeah.
pretty fucking bad. Yeah.
I mean, I think I don't think like Plaid Cymru is and SNP and the Irish Northern Irish parties that you know they're an aside because they don't stand in a huge number of seats.
Yeah.
So they sort of skew that. And I think
How do you feel about this? This might anger some Scottish people, but I've got some resentment towards the SNP for basically for 10-ish years ensuring a Tory government in the UK by running. You know, if they'd run here, I would have fucking voted for them in certain elections, right?
Yeah.
But they only run in Scotland. They got all of the Scottish seats, which means Labour literally cannot possibly win, which guarantees there's a Tory government for 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm not, when I say resentment, I understand. I understand the context. I'm aware of how much of a twat I'm being by saying that, because Scotland's got its own issues and so on. But it's kind of fucking irritating.
I mean, the way I come at it from the other side, I blame Labour for not making a deal with the SNP.
That's fair. Yep.
Yeah,
that's fair.
They can, and to be honest,
I don't know why. Yeah, actually, why? I don't know why Labour was so, or just to have an outright sort of from the start coalition deal.
Yeah,
I don't know why Labour are so committed to the unionist position.
Yeah, there was, I think it was, I can't remember which election now, whether it was 2019 or the one before that. There was a pretty widespread progressive alliance where Plaid, Lib Dems, Green, there might have been other parties in there, where basically they sort of negotiated on standing aside in particular target seats.
Yeah.
But as I understand it, and I know this from like secondhand accounts, that the Lib Dems being the biggest party in this progressive alliance, basically tried to like bully everyone else into doing what they wanted because they had the lion's share. And I think a lot of people that soured a lot of people. Like mostly like grassroots activists and stuff. And with smaller parties, grassroots activists can really fuck up a party.
Oh, they really matter, yeah.
So, what's interesting about this to me is that surely under these conditions, first past the post as it stands cannot go on, right? Because
that's been talked about even on the mainstream media. Yeah, everybody seems aware of that.
It's because it's because Reform have got on board with this. Reform, I think they're pro PR, and so it means that there are the parties on the left that want PR. There are the Lib Dems, which I would at the moment put them on the left, but they do sort of sprawl out a bit, so maybe into the centre. And then you got Reform on the right that are also gunning for PR as well. So you've got a Labour supermajority right now, but Labour know that is tenuous, right? They can look at the chart just as well as we do, right? This is a chart on the BBC, right? This is not a hidden away chart on Russia. This
Yeah, the thing is, for the Tories pre this election and Labour, it isn't in their interest in
it's
terms of seats.
it's got to be in Labour's interest at this point. In this point, it's only got its own. I mean, at the moment, it's decimated the Tories, but I think on the longer
Like, 'cause
term,
when on like for a two-party system, first past the post kind of works fine because like the proportion of the vote does tend to translate roughly into the proportion of the seats when it's a two-party race. It's only when it's not a two-party race that it's a problem.
Mhm. But the two
Yeah, I don't
parties
know.
is very easy to become a closed system then at that point, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, that's the thing. That's what they want, right?
well, here's the thing, right? The Conservatives, I'm sorry, Labour know that this is a big gain for them on what is fundamentally barely even a win on vote share, right? Because if Reform, now
Yeah.
I don't know how many Labour people would have voted Reform. I think it's more than people think. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that the 14% Reform there would go straight up into the Conservatives, giving a 38 points.
No,
But
it is based on, yeah, no, I've looked into this because
Mhm,
I was arguing with people on Fedi about this because
mhm,
I was just saying like Labour only won because the Tories vote was split between blah blah,
mhm,
and people were responding saying, well, it's not straightforward. Some Labour people voted Reform and blah. So I looked into
mhm,
whether anybody had done research or polling on this, and they have, and no. Hyperbolically,
mhm.
everybody voting Reform was a Tory voter.
Okay.
It's yeah, there was some Tory voters staying at home for sure. That was the thing,
Mhm.
but there was a lot of fucking Labour voters staying at home as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a straight transfer from. It's never
Mm.
quite this simple. There's a few
Yeah.
oddities here and there, but pretty
Mm.
much it was a straight transfer of votes from Tory to
Mm.
Reform.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always surprised how many Green voters read the Daily Mail, but so politics is never as neat as we like to think it is with
Yeah,
all these
yeah,
charts.
yeah.
Okay, I mean that's sort of understandable. So given that, then Labour would have lost the election again. So was Rishi Sunak's thoughts on calling the election basically on the assumption that Reform wouldn't turn out or crumble or whatever, and that he would actually basically win with about 38% of the vote, or at least something a lot narrower?
I think the Tories were. My only read that makes sense on this is that they knew they couldn't win another election, and they
Mm.
were like, we might as well get it. I'm not even saying that like they had a meeting and decided this on a conscious level.
Mm.
Just think there was a broad because they didn't even fucking fight the election, right?
They really
I think
didn't.
they really didn't. I think they were just like, let's just get it out of the way.
Yeah,
We obviously need to like regroup.
yeah.
Let's go and do that. I
I
don't think they were expecting to lose these many votes to the Reform though.
Yeah, I think that was my gut instinct, and also my gut instinct was like, if we call it now, we can, like, a lot of us can still have a summer holiday. Really,
Yeah,
I
yeah. I don't know how much of a pressure. I do wonder how whether Rishi Sunak was happy to get re-elected or not.
I think, yeah, I think and again, like, there is a part of me that I know it's a bit sort of non-substantive, but I genuinely think, oh, I could actually have a nice holiday in the Maldives. I,
Yeah.
like, because the thing is, you'd be a bit gutted if you hung out until September, had an autumn election, and then it's like, great. I mean, I suppose you could go into the southern
Thing is though,
hemisphere.
with Rishi Sunak, like he relies on that salary.
No, he doesn't.
What's he gonna, what's he gonna do to make ends meet?
Well, he's. Are you? I don't get the
Yeah,
joke.
no,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm just being very, very
Oh,
sarcastic. Yeah, because he's an almost billionaire, isn't he?
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, his wife's richer than the Queen, so.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's, yeah. So, also he does intermittent fasting. I don't know. I found that to be quite interesting.
I mean, he seems the kind of person who would be into those. I'm not saying everybody who does that is a twat, but like twats are definitely into that.
So,
Like
yeah,
I find the idea interesting too. Yeah, sorry,
yeah,
no, that sounded like I was casting aspersions on everybody who does that, but no, it's the kind of it's almost like a tech bro-ish kind of thing. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, totally. Um, but yeah, so now that PR is being challenged from all angles,
Mm,
I think Labour could understand, and also if like, so if Starmer accepts the substantial possibility, if not probability, that the next election that he faces is going to be a lot harder fought, then I think that does a few things, right? So I'm assuming intelligence in Starmer because I have no reason to suspect otherwise, right? Like with Boris Johnson, I don't think he's as bright as he thinks. I don't think he's bright. I don't think Rishi Sunak's got the head for this game either, to be honest. He's probably bright in the world of finance or something like that. But like here, Liz Truss, I think, speaks for herself. So I think going back, I think Theresa May was probably like the best bet they had, really, and even she had her foibles, right? So So Starmer knows that he's on a house built on sand right now. So he's got a lot of paths open to him. The first thing I think he's going to try and do is a legitimately good job, and I think he's legitimately going to try and fix things, and I think he's legitimately going to try and do something with public ownership, and I think he's going to do some left things. Because
he's very limited in that if they're not willing to change these stupid fucking fiscal rules that they've got. They're going to need to either raise taxes, and hope if they do raise taxes, I'm pretty sure it will be what's it called? What's inheritance? What's inheritance tax called?
Isn't it inheritance?
It'll be capital gains. I don't think I wish they would do basically a top bracket of income tax that's very high. I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll do capital gains and the other one that I can't think of. Or borrow money. It's a good time to borrow money.
But I think he'll.
But anyway, I agree. I do think that's their tack, is that they're going to try. But my worry is that they're going to do it in a technocratic way, where they're just going to try and be very good managers. I think we need a bit more than that.
Yeah. But I think they'll try and be very good managers, right? And I think that's better at least. Now, and he might see where the wind is blowing on that one to see. Oh, okay, so basically he's going to give us stuff for a while, which is nice, right? A bit of
he's already been pressured by. He's already had a kind of not a revolt because it wasn't a vote, but like members of his own party pressuring him on the child tax credit thing.
Well, to lift it.
Yeah, which I think is a good sign.
Ah, interesting.
I think he'll probably.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it might be engineered so he has to appear to be, giving in to, didn't want to do it, but I don't know why though, because it's popular. Why would he do that?
Reform are in favour of the tax credit. I think that might be why.
Reform, yeah.
Yeah, so it's, and I mean, I don't. Is there really that much money that's saved by it?
No, it's. I can't remember the figure. It's something like I think it's single-digit billions, which obviously is a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money for the UK government.
Yeah.
It's a drop in the ocean.
So, but I think once he worked, after a while, I think he's going to start crunching some numbers, and I think he's going to realise that if Labour are going to have any kind of serious stake without the help of Reform, basically, like Reform are going to put pressure on all of the parties that are not Labour and the Conservatives are going to put pressure on Labour on this issue, right? So what's the opposite? Like the opposition, everyone except the Tories, is basically like it's not more than Labour, obviously, but it's more than the Tories. By a fair margin, right? So by
a long shot. Yeah.
The bulk of the opposition are going to be in favour of PR. I think there might be different strands. Different parties might have different ideas of electoral reform, but I think everyone can probably get behind PR. Labour are going to understand they're going to lose their majority, but in order to keep a solid stake in power for a while, PR might just be their best bet, right? Because Labour then can at least work with other parties in a bit more of a coherent manner, right? Like this.
I mean, another thing they'll have going into the next election is the sort of incumbency advantage, which the Tories rode for it. Like the Tories have been doing a bad job for 10 plus, even on the terms that a Tory would see it for since the financial crisis, really, right?
Yeah.
And they kept getting elected, so I think the incumbency thing does count for quite a lot. So he's got that going for him. I don't think that Labour will get on board for PR. I think they'll need to be forced into it. I think it's possible that they will, because I think it's going to be. I think if presented the right way, but like you say, by parties on the left and right and middle with the Lib Dems, when it's coming at them from all directions, if it's presented right and the media pick it up, I think it could become a popular issue that they'll have no choice on.
And also,
and I hope that happens. I really hope that the Greens and the Lib Dems are willing to work with Reform on this. I don't give a fuck about, if you have to work with Reform to get PR through, grit your teeth and fucking do it. I don't care. You can work with parties you disagree on to get good things through.
Yeah, I think they will. My gut is that they will on this issue.
I've heard from like various sources and various things that they're kind of rumbling that they wouldn't, but I don't know whether they're just saying that to appease somebody, because that would be fucking stupid.
Yeah, but it's that's the nature of politics. Is you say you're not until you do, and then
Yeah.
That's a standard playbook thing, really. Isn't
it?
And also we've got to remember that like 80% of the Labour membership are in favour of PR as well. So they got pressure from within. And how many of those MPs that are newly elected are going to be in favour of PR? Probably quite a lot of them, because there's a lot of new Labour MPs there that are not, browbeaten by time in government. They're new there, full of energy and keen for change, right?
Have you heard what Corbyn's been saying the past couple of days?
Oh, I haven't. No. Has he just been gloating?
So, yeah, he's given a couple of interviews. One of them was on Navarra, but I think they put the video up accidentally, because I linked it to somebody on Fedi, and they said, this video is private kind of thing. And I was like, I clicked on the link and they were right. So I think I happened to click on it when they accidentally put it up. Anyway, so I've watched this interview with Corbyn, and he's trying to kind of do what you were talking about earlier. He's trying to create a sort of a fluid faction of people willing to work together to pressure the government, on various sort of issues, essentially. Yeah. And he's saying, he's willing to work with it, but in a sort of semi-organized way, not a faction or a party, but a sort of a framework whereby people from different parties can come together to all work together to pressure the government on things.
Yeah.
And I think that could be really cool. That could be really powerful. With Corbyn's name behind it as well.
Yeah, and also I find it quite interesting that Bernie Sanders gave a special congratulations to Corbyn.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was like, "Hey, nice one, Corbyn."
See that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable.
It's like, yeah.
Oh, they should get married.
Do you know Bernie Sanders' brother was he is in the Green Party?
Really?
Yeah, and also slight claim to fame. I don't feel how good I don't know how I feel about announcing this on the internet. I once was in a urinal next to Bernie Sanders. I forget his first name now, but
You were in what? Sorry.
I was at the urinal next to Bernie Sanders' brother. It's like, I didn't strike up a conversation or anything like that. I'm not a weirdo, but it's like, I don't know. I gave him. I held the door open for him, so on the way out.
This is something I learned the other day. Did you know that Corbyn's brother is a climate denier?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Piers Corbyn.
Did you know about him? I didn't know that. I didn't know that until the other day.
He's absolutely bonkers. He's kind of like he's a bit like David Icke, but crossed with the Doc Brown from Back to the Future. He's not
like a raving, like, this isn't like a Hitchens situation where one of them's left and one of them's right. He's left wing, generally speaking, right? He just believes that the climate thing is a hoax.
He is a conspiracy kind of guy. But he did do something that was quite amusing. He was anti-mask and a lot of other things as well.
Yeah. But he thinks that's a hoax as well.
Yeah. But one thing that he did do that I will kind of support him on is that I think there was like an Aldi or something, one of the big supermarkets that went card only, and he marched in there in his Piers Corbyn way. And he picked up a punnet of strawberries and he went to the counter and then he announced, "I am buying these strawberries in cash." And he put the exact money down on the counter and then sort of walked out. And I'm like, well, I'm glad somebody's done it. Yeah.
I think I saw that. I just didn't realise that was Corbyn's brother.
Yeah. For obvious reasons, Corbyn's distancing himself very successfully from it. like for all the things that the media beaten Corbyn over for,
Yeah, yeah.
this one is not one of them. And
I mean, I guess it's kind of it's a hard thing to bit like, you know, your brother thinks these things. Well, yeah, it's not me.
yeah,
We're not. I have no control over my brother.
yeah. Although it's kind of weird that they love interviewing Boris Johnson's dad, Stanley Johnson. Like, yeah, he's famous because he's Boris Johnson's dad and looks a bit like him. And like, I see him on. I never listen to a word he says because, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, what is his point? Like, he just like it's just a family of fucking narcissists, isn't it?
It's like Boris Johnson was a character in a long running TV series, and then they changed the actor when they interviewed his dad.
That is so,
You know what I mean?
yeah. There was a great one that I saw, which was I think like Boris Johnson thinks that being prime minister is a bit like being Mr. Ben. That's a fucking dated reference. And also a British reference. Like, look it up on YouTube, right? But because it's like everywhere.
Yeah, I'm surprised you're old enough to know what Mr. Ben is.
Oh,
so, yeah, that's very
back in
specific.
days when my nan used to look after me, she had like VHSs like from like forever ago. And, yeah, like, so for those that don't know, Mr. Ben is this whole British cartoon. I think it's British, isn't it? It's very British, and yeah, of course it's British.
Yeah, no, very, very British.
And an old animated cartoon where basically he goes into a costume shop, and like every episode he role plays as a different profession, you know, and yeah, it feels like very Boris Johnson.
He's often like he'd sort of go in, he'd go in and put on a cowboy outfit, and then he'd be in the Old West for the rest of the episode, right? And it was never entirely clear whether he was like time traveling or whether it was just like an imaginative sort of thing. A bit Muppets Babies.
Yeah.
It's very good.
I can't remember. I do remember what I did for some reason look up old Bill and Ben, and that's not good. That's not good.
No, see, that's my parents. My parents will talk about Bill and Ben and like Andy Pandy, and I think when the internet finally came along and YouTube was a thing, like, you know, they've been talking about fucking Andy Pandy for like you know the 20 odd years of my existence up until that point. So I looked them up and I was like, this is what you were going crazy over?
God. Oh, do you know what I'm going to look up tonight? Look, Button Moon. I used to have old VHSs from Button Moon. Do you know Button Moon?
No, Button Moon. I had 3 phases with Button Moon. Watched it as a kid. Watched it with friends at like 18, 19, 20 while getting stoned. It's great to watch at that age while getting stoned. And then sort of like watching a few episodes on YouTube and go, you know, is it good as I remember it to be? And it actually is. It's charming as fuck.
Nice. The thing to me, I remember it being super surreal. Because it's like, it's puppets that are 3D, but they're in a 2D world.
Yeah. And the moon is literally a button.
Yeah, a button, yeah.
See, that was sort of that was really more my sister's sort of age. It was a bit slightly after my time, but I would, you know, catch it because my sisters would be watching it. The kids' TV from my generation was all just fucking terrifying. Like Bagpuss. Fuck me.
Oh yeah.
I swear Bagpuss is responsible for like most of my generation's mental health.
Yeah, I mean,
Bagpuss is the most fucking depressing thing you can ever possibly. Just watch if anybody's curious, just look on YouTube, Bagpuss opening credits or whatever, and you'll get what I'm talking about. Holy Jesus.
I mean, mine wasn't that much better. Mine was more benign and bland, like the Queen's Nose and the kid.
The Queen's Nose was great.
No, it was like, it was very, you know, and
it was enjoyable.
Bernard's Watch. And
Bernard's Watch was great.
It was just dull. Like, it was just like,
did you not enjoy it though? I find this very entertaining.
It was background noise, you know. I never. Do you know? Did you ever watch Biker Grove?
Yeah, I did watch Biker Grove. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you how it ended? Do you know how it ended?
No, I don't think so.
You can watch the ending episodes on YouTube, and I'm surprised this isn't talked about more. This is kind of legendary. So the last 2 episodes are like a 2-parter. The first is that, oh no, they're coming for the youth centre. These developers are going to come for the youth centre, and It's like, how are we going to stop them? And because it's like the final episode, like it's a genuine cliffhanger. They're like, oh my god, this could be the end of Grove. And then and then the second part, the final episode, they basically, like, it goes super surreal. They find the script for the final episode and then they just fuck with it. And there's a bomb, and then there's dinosaurs, and then like it just
Really?
yeah, like it just, the whole world just kind of falls apart. It's crazy. It's like,
See, that's the kind of shit that what's his face who does Rick and Morty?
oh, Justin Roiland.
No, that is not the right name. I don't know who that is.
The other one, it was a co-writer.
Yeah, the other one then, who did Community, and Community was sort of known for, at least after the first season or two, it would. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so it's a sitcom set in a community college, but it would be like, okay, this episode they're all puppets, and this episode it's a musical, and this episode it's like presented like what's his name, documentary whose name I can't remember. So it was, that was its kind of its thing, and Biker Grove was doing it 20 years earlier.
Yeah, but it was more like, it's the most surreal thing I've ever seen on television. Like, without a doubt.
I need to watch that.
Absolutely.
I'm generally not one for revisiting TV. I'm generally anti-nostalgia, as you know.
Yeah.
And I think you sort of share that a little bit, right?
Oh no, I totally
don't think
share that. I totally share. I used to be more pro nostalgia, and I've definitely got anti nostalgia as time goes by.
I think it's just an unhealthy impulse. I think we're always better at seeking out. I mean, I will comfort watch things like these TV shows that I love, and I'll watch them over and over again. I don't mean that, but I think that's sort of trying to return to, as opposed to just look for something new, embrace new things.
Yeah.
I mean new to you. They don't have to be new.
Yeah.
And I think that's a much healthier. But it's fun to look back on things. So,
yeah, but I think when we do it, we look on it at back of what does this look like in the context of today.
Yeah.
We're not like, oh, I wish I was a kid again, or anything like,
yeah, no.
Because I gotta be honest, I enjoy life much more as an adult than I ever did as a kid. With
my limitations, it's a bit different, but
Being an adult's great. Like, you can stay up way past your bedtime. You can eat whatever you want. I've had like pasta bakes most of this week.
I did most of that as a kid. My parents were very laissez-faire.
Oh, my parents were fine. Yeah, like, I mean, I don't get me wrong. My parents were great. They were very keen that I had an active social life as a kid. So as much as I like my computer, they were pushing me out the door a lot. And I think for the better for it, right? Like, it's
yeah, for sure.
But that was really the only thing. So when I was growing up, I got quite a lot of leeway in terms of like hanging out with friends, because my parents' philosophy was, well, look, as long as he's out there with people and chatting and making friends, like that's the important bit. And I live in a relatively safe area. It's very low crime. The biggest threats are from the natural disasters, and with any kid around here, we know how to swim well, because that's the one thing that could save that's the skill that could save your life.
Right. Yeah.
As long as as long as you're a strong swimmer, you kind of you're all right around here, to be honest. So it's.
I mean, I'm Gen X, so it's become a cliche for us to talk about how hands off our parents were, and we could literally just go and have adventures and come back at whatever time we wanted and all that.
Back in the days when it wasn't health and safety gone mad and you could drink the lead paint.
Health and safety gone mad. I do think, because crime has been falling for decades, right? Like, quite consistently. I think
crime, right?
In the last few years, there's been a slight rise, but yeah, I think crime in general, but yeah, violent crime as well. But kids and parents, this is another old person thing. Parents seem to be more and more careful and cautious and worried about their kids, which doesn't seem to.
This is the thing that does make me lose my faith in democracy a little bit, is the very well documented case of when crime goes down, perception of crime goes up. And that's presumably because, like, the crimes that do get committed get reported more, they get talked about more, they're more novel.
I think it's a coincidence. I think crime going down coincided with 24-hour news becoming a thing. and they're needing to keep people watching by sensationalizing the shit out of everything. So, you know, like if they could portray it like there was a particular problem with, you know, X crime or just crime in general, you know, just bombarding us with crime, basically. I think that's just then it keeps people watching, right?
Yeah. Well, possibly. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's an entirely mediatized thing.
Well, I mean, the 24
and we're not overlooking, because you can very easily say, well, it's easy for you to say as white men who don't have to be like blah 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 blah.
So are we going to talk about it at any point? The thing that we've not been talking about for 90 minutes.
I mean, really, there's not a lot to say, really, is there? In a way,
I think there is something to say. And that thing to say...
I mean, I have things to say, but go on.
I think this has sealed the election for Trump, if I'm honest.
No, I agree with that. Yeah,
that's the thing to say. Because I thought for a lot of this episode, we'd be talking about whether or not Biden should stay in the race or not. And I think this has kind of just sealed it as to... He probably will, because it will look kind of silly to pull out now. And it doesn't matter, because I'm pretty sure that just that photo of Trump giving the defiant fist in the air behind the flag as he just survived an assassination attempt.
Yeah.
So it sealed it for him. And he almost knew that. Like, my God, props to the guy for fucking turning that into a fucking media opportunity in a fucking second. That man can fucking exploit the crisis.
I mean, I might be overly naive here, but I don't even think that was cynical. I think he just handled it very well.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, for somebody who's just been shot in the fucking ear, who's aware that was probably an assassination attempt, and he got up, and the first thing he said was to the SS officers trying to drag not SSSS, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The first thing he said to them was, "Let me get my shoes on."
Did he not have his shoes on or something?
I assume he took his shoes off to give the speech or whatever. And yeah, because he said it like 2 or 3 times, because they were trying to drag him off the stage, and he was like, "Let me get my shoes on," and it gets angry. He goes, "Let me get my shoes on." But and then fist in the air, and he had, you know, just on a human level, he handled a very fucking terrifying situation like really well.
I'm annoyed, but he did, you know, and it's like. Yeah, I think, to be honest,
and I think yeah, no, I absolutely think it. I think it sealed the election. And I think I said this to Andrew earlier. Like, if the Dems are sort of hammering him on like gun stuff, he can. He's got the perfect, like, you know, speaking from lived experience, somebody who was shot at by an assassin.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't think we should tighten gun legislation, you know, whatever.
It's or maybe it'd be quite interesting to see how many Republicans turn around and say, actually, maybe we should actually, you know.
Well, I would want the one, because I don't think there's much interesting to say about this, but I think that the one interesting to me thing that occurred to me is, like, this is just forgetting who Trump is. Just that he's a human being, right? That's a fucking traumatic event to happen in your life, right? Like, fucking traumatic to be shot at by a fucking assassin and be narrowly missed by that fucking margin. Well, not even, you know, he was hit on the ear, but, you know, an inch to the left or whatever, and you know, his brains are blown out on stage in front of him. I think that's the kind of thing that could change a person.
And it could
go, you know, it could turn him into, you know, a more of a tight ass hard line. It could make him serious about politics and serious about the politics that he's been sort of accidentally been representing for the past however many years. Or maybe it could soften him. Imagine, like, I was thinking, like, what if this just sort of makes him, you know, realize, like, life is a gift, you know, like, you know, the cliches, life is a gift, every moment is precious, we should be kinder to each other, blah blah blah. I mean, unlikely perhaps, but possible and interesting.
Yeah, that is particularly interesting. I mean, I feel it would be impossible not to change him, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I've had my head kicked in a good number of times, and it has absolutely changed me. And that's not, you know, just,
yeah.
You know, violence changes you. It absolutely does. Yeah,
it does. I think especially as an older person as well, though. Like, I mean, think we all sort of have brushes with death in our teens and 20s, but as an older person, confronting your own mortality, I think is a more, because you think like teens and 20s, you think you're immortal, don't you? Like somewhere deep down, you
Oh,
don't actually really
I made
know.
some awful driving decisions.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've come so close so many fucking times in
I
my
know. I've gotten into cars with people who have had too much to drink.
Oh no, you say
Oh,
same.
I'm not a drink driver myself, but I have gotten into cars with people and
I
in
mean, we
accidents.
both had like quite rural upbringings, didn't we? Which I think
Yeah,
it is slightly. I mean, it's easy to say, but I think it is slightly different when you're. Yeah.
yeah. It's
No, I think no. At that age, having a brush with death that close, I think it means more for sure, and I think it can have a more profound effect on you.
yeah, because I suppose in many ways you think of those moments as part of your youth,
Mm,
right? And now it's like actually
yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah.
it's yeah, that is kind of fascinating. Also, someone said to me, a friend of mine, is like, God, I bet Trump's VP picks potentials are shitting themselves now, right?
Well, I was thinking again. That's another thing that went through my head. Is probably not the expression to use at the moment, but yeah, went through my mind was like, what if he died without picking a VP? Like, what what do they do
Yeah, what
then?
happens then? I
Yeah.
think with no knowledge or research, I think either the Republicans could, because the Republican convention hasn't happened yet, so it would just be a last
Yeah.
scramble. So it'd be
Right. Right. Yeah. No, I forgot that. Yeah.
a last scramble for the primaries,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I
I
mean,
do think though,
it's
like I know the sort of meme response amongst people who lean left is like, oh, it's a shame that they missed kind of thing. I do genuinely think if they hit and blown his head off, I think the American far right would then be fucking unstoppable. I think we're very fucking lucky that they missed.
it now. See, this is the worst of the 24-hour news cycle. But I think the FBI did release the name of the guy.
Yeah.
And I think he is like one of those right-wing libertarians, or certainly registered Republican. But he's only 20,
Yeah,
so
I read into this and I found one site saying he was a registered Republican, um, and not much else other than he graduated college. I found another site saying he had connections to various Antifa things,
I've not
and
seen it.
he was a registered Republican, but he'd voted for both Hillary and Biden, and so on and so on. So yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot of bullshit out at the moment.
There's a lot of bullshit out. I'm only,
But even regardless of who shot him,
Mm.
I think if he'd been shot, I think the because it because the hard see I don't think Trump is a fascist. I don't think most of his followers are fascists. I don't think most of his followers are racists. Blah blah blah. Right? I know that a lot of people are going to hate me for that, but that's how I feel. I think he could lead to fascism. I think he's sort of sleepwalking into it by. I don't think Trump is a very political person, and I think if the world had been arranged different, if the Democratic Party was different, I think he would have fit better as a Democratic candidate, but they just would never have had him. The Republican was the only option open to him. He became a Republican candidate and sort of accidentally wandered into appealing to the hard right. I think that's what's happened, right? I think he's this accidental representative of this hard right, as well as just a whole bunch of disenfranchised people.
Yeah.
And I think that the longer he's in power, yes, the more that hard right has potential to become a more serious force in politics. But I think him dying, what I was going to say is that hard right is kind of fueled by a lot of conspiracy stuff about they're all out to get us, all the QAnon type stuff. And if he's assassinated, that just like utterly confirms everything they think, reinforces it, and just makes them. I just think it would make. I'm being inarticulate, but I think it would make that faction fucking unstoppable. I think they'd be out burning stuff. It make the 6th of January look like what it was like, a few hundred idiots. I think that would be real fucking trouble.
I think it could still be trouble.
Potentially, but less so, I think.
I think a lot of this is given the blank check for some nasty violence to happen. It certainly would be if they'd have hit, and things to do in in a martyr's name. You can do anything, right? Like
Yeah.
But I think I don't know. Like in some ways, Trump almost becomes a living martyr in a way because he survived, but also the bullet hit. Like it couldn't have been more close to that fucking line. Like it literally,
Yeah.
Also, because the thing is, even if it hit him in a shoulder or something, like he would be off the trail for a few weeks to recover. Like he literally, like he had it could. Everyone knows, right? A few millimeters, a head wobble away from death. Like
Yeah. Well, Andrew, there's another thing. Andrew and I were talking about earlier was way back in 2016, he sort of famously said in that interview, I could walk through. I can't remember what it was. I could walk through Times Square and shoot somebody, and they wouldn't care. Talking about like the people who go for him. He's just got this sort of untouchable, lucky kind of quality. We were joking that like during character creation, he put all his points into luck or something.
Yeah.
He's got that vibe of just sailing through things unscathed, and this just sort of reinforces that kind of myth or whatever.
Oh my
right?
God, what are the religious fucking nutters going to think about this? They're going to be like, saved by God, saved by God.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, that's going to be unbearable.
I'm hoping against hope that like what we were talking about, this changes him, and I would love it if this just softens him and gives him, because like I said, I don't think he actually wants the kind of support that he's got, in again on a basic human level. I'm not putting this well, but if this sort of softens him and makes him realize like I'm president of the United States, I've got an amazing opportunity to actually make things better here rather than just say things that are popular to a certain people.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit like, as we were saying earlier, the thing about social media is that you don't recognize that there's a person, you don't sort of like...
Yeah. I don't want to go too far down that path because he is a cunt for sure.
But the thing is, it's like... But here's the thing. When he's making policy or when he's talking about other groups or whatever, right? Previous pre-assassination Trump might not necessarily think of these as people. He might just think of himself as just manipulating the levers of power. Whereas like his brush with death might be a bit more like it might be a bit more like well actually, these people have lives and stuff like that.
Basically what we're asking for is a Christmas Carol.
Kind of, yeah. But also, counter case is Nigel Farage when he, it's not necessarily the same thing because it wasn't an act of violence, but when Nigel Farage was in that plane crash and he came out and survived, it didn't change him at all.
I think any situation like that can change somebody, but I think there's something very specific about
an
assassination attempt in the context of a political rally, and like it's just so loaded with significance.
And the thing that just irritates the hell out of me now is that, like, as you say, there's not that much to say about it. We've probably exhausted it already, but it's going to be like 9/11, where it's just like a constant news cycle for the next 3 weeks. I'm just going to be spending my time avoiding it, I
think the last thing I want to say about the Christmas Carol theory is that, because very strong, like, Trump is a narcissist and an egoist, right? What he just wants people's adoration. That's what feeds him. And so far he's got that by, most I'm very inarticulate today, and I apologize for that.
I don't think you are. You're doing all right.
In a way he can feel the most strongly. He's got that by, all this dog whistle nonsense. And the hatred he gets probably just feels like, sort of memey hatred. He can just sort of brush it off. They hate me because I'm, but somebody, maybe, the realization that somebody actually wanted to kill me and tried to shoot me in the head, will make him realize that he's actually making people, I'm saying, and actually a lot, but actually hate him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like just having the realization of, people actually hate me enough to try and kill me.
This isn't his.
maybe.
This isn't the first
Go
time
on.
someone's tried to kill him, though. I think it was at his initial first presidential run. Someone got
Oh,
stopped
really?
stopped with a gun. It was a lot earlier on in the process. It was actually a British person, I believe, and
Mm.
he was at a Trump rally, and I think Secret Service found the gun on him and took him away, and we never heard from him again. With
But they
yeah,
didn't get a shot off or
they didn't
anything.
get a shot off, and they didn't. I don't think they got close enough.
Yeah, I think that's
But,
different.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
definitely
I think
different.
that's
It's a
different.
world of difference from skimming your fucking ear.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
yeah, that's yeah. So I don't know if he's going to have the thought process of why is it only me that people seem to be like no one actually tried to kill Hillary, no one tried to kill fucking Biden, no one tried to kill Bernie. Like why is it just me? You know,
Yeah.
I maybe
And
he's not.
Reagan.
Yeah, Reagan. I mean Kennedy, but
Was
Kennedy's
Reagan was the last one to get shot at, right? He
uh
actually got shot, didn't he?
yeah, but that was. Do you mean just president? Because
Yeah, yeah.
Robert F. Kennedy wasn't president, was he? He was vice president
No,
or something.
no, I think he was senator, I think.
Something like that. Yeah. There's a lot of conspiracy theories around that one as well. Oh my god, the conspiracy
yeah.
theories is going to be just insane.
Well, yeah, one of the things that I was, because I mean, people might colour me a conspiracy theorist for this one, but I think the CIA or some facts, people within the CIA killed JFK. I believe that to be the case.
Yeah,
And if this was the CIA, they really fucked it up.
I don't. It's. I mean, I think they got the guy relatively quick. I think
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think there's much doubt that it's that like rather lost 20-year-old kid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because 20-year-olds really, that's not, that's that
I
like
do hope it wasn't somebody with any kind of Antifa leanings or connections or something, because that if that's the case, that's gonna get messy.
it from what I've heard from the reputable sources, and even in the 24-hour news cycle at this point, reputable news sources get it wrong, but I think what it looks like, so obviously take this with a whole fistful of salt, is that he was like, I think he was like maybe big into I think he made some donations to progressive caucuses or progressive PACs or something. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks like he kind of got like disillusioned with maybe how Bernie Sanders was treated within the party, about how the DNC kind of sort of stonewalled Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And I think then he was like, then he sort of became a bit like accelerationist, I think is the term, where he's like,
Right.
also like politically disenfranchised or politically like angry. And then so he went over to Trump and then he got radicalized by like the QAnon law, and then he got almost radicalized past the point of Trump, to where maybe he was like super like one of those super like Pizzagate people, and then when some people were suggesting, and this is not reported by the mainstream media, by the way, this is just a suggestion, that he that when Trump came up on the Epstein logs, which were recently released, the Epstein files that were the court case files, I believe, that were recently released, it disillusioned him into thinking, oh, actually, it's Trump that's the sex offender, and that kind of was like, burn it all down, fuck them.
So just kind of
yeah,
all over the place,
or
yeah.
it could be,
which is a bit of a sign of the times in a way.
Yeah, or it could also be that he's like an uber libertarian, where of course Trump is more authoritarian. So even though he's a registered Republican, he's from like the opposite faction of the Republican Party, or in fact, there are a lot of libertarians that are registered Republicans just because being active in the Republican Party nets you more political clout than being anything in the Libertarian Party. So
one thing I did read, I think this was on Sky, was that he was wearing a T-shirt of some YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, it was a gun channel, I think it was.
Yeah, well, I didn't. They just said the name. They didn't say what it was. So I went to YouTube and looked it up, and it was a gun channel. And I watched a couple of their videos. They're actually very entertaining.
Oh no!
No, they're really good. And they're not. it's not like at least I watched 2 videos, so this is just a superficial read. But they didn't seem like right wing nut job gun channel. They just seemed like quite laid back dudes who just enjoy shooting guns and sort of having fun, but like quite a good sense of humor as well.
How I mean, how would they feel
Direct-
about their merch being?
Oh yeah, no, that's not. That's never good.
But the thing is,
They didn't seem like even. If I had to guess, I would imagine these people vote Democrat. They didn't even seem
Oh.
Republican-y to me. But that's an absolute 1,000,000% guess based on watching 2 of their videos. But no, it was very entertaining.
I mean, they could be libertarians. Sometimes libertarians come across as relatively.
Didn't have that
reasonable.
feel.
Oh, didn't it? Okay.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but they really didn't have that feel. Yeah, I would watch their latest videos. There's a sort of little joke bit, and it's not the most sophisticated humor in the world. The little joke bit at the beginning of it has actually made me laugh. It's quite funny.
Okay. That is so much of a sign of the times, though. Like, especially that you see a lot of people, because I think this is very modern. This is even like after my situation. Like, I've changed a lot of my opinions over the years since I was a kid, but I've always been left of center in one way or another, right? I've never never really been anything else, especially in terms of policy. I've always had my values of like, everyone should have free healthcare. Education should be really well funded. Everyone should be able to like support themselves with any job. Like you should be able to flip burgers at McDonald's and still be able to like have a house and a family, and all that kind of stuff. So I've always, which I suppose is actually quite far
whereas
left.
now it's like, if you're a young person, it's like, well, there was that thing I was talking about on Fedi earlier as well. There was it was a relatively small poll. I think it was sample size was like 200, but they were polling 16 to 18-year-olds on where what they would have voted in the UK election, right? And it was I think it was Labour first, Reform second, Greens third, right? But the gender split was really interesting.
Yeah.
So did you see that when I posted? So,
no, you sent it to me on Discord. It's it's
oh right,
shocking.
yeah.
But it does track with a lot of things that we see. Like the friggin' gender wars in Gen Z is insane. They hate each other. They hate each other.
So just to summarize, so basically Labour got a decent chunk on with both genders, but second place among males was Reform with like I think 20 or 30%.
Yeah.
And then Green on I think it was maybe even literally 0 for the men. And then that's basically reversed for the young women, where Greens get like 20-30% and Reform gets I think like 10%. So yeah, that's fucking interesting. And watching the Vora thing about this, and their take is just that young people get their politics from TikTok, basically.
Yeah.
Or that young, that age.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to Reform, for some reason their social media game is second to none.
Yeah.
And that includes TikTok.
I think part of it is, if you're a young man, they're fun.
Yeah. And agitating.
Politics is, and not fun in a fucking Lib Dem way.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciated the Lib Dem fun, but it's not but it is like teachers on a school trip kind of vibe, right?
Yeah. One thing I did want to say is, I think this is the first election that I can recall where the Lib Dems have been able to campaign as the Lib Dems, because they weren't. Usually the Lib Dems they either have to present as, we're like Labour but a bit less extreme, or we're like the Tories but a bit nicer. Whereas this election, they could just sort of be themselves.
Yeah, and I found them very endearing. If I'm complete, I know you've got your, I know you haven't forgiven
historical
them
reservations.
Yeah. And maybe I'm being won over by stupid antics like that big game of Jenga. But
the antics, honestly, I get the antics. I think it was a smart move. I think being that vulnerable and human was an interesting, because it's not how we usually see politicians. It's not how I want to see politicians. I want to see them saying clever things, rather than
But people crave authenticity. People,
that doesn't, for me, that doesn't read as authenticity. But I get what you mean. I think it was a successful campaign, and I do get it.
Yeah.
But I like their policy, honestly.
Yeah.
Their policy is better than Labour's right now.
Yeah, yeah, especially on trans issues and the environment.
Mm, yeah,
Although,
and
I
economic stuff for the most
yeah,
part.
I think, I hope, maybe, and I hope I'm not just like flat out disregarding facts when I say this, but I think that a lot of their manifesto was tactical, and
Yeah, and
is
also they know they're not going to be the government, so they can kind of say whatever they want. But
yeah. Oh, I know. I also
even
meant
in
with
that
Labour.
context, they do usually.
Like I
You are
think
sorry?
I was talking about Labour. I think their manifesto was tactical in terms of
Oh no, absolutely, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, that's Starmer's whole thing is just saying the thing that gets him to the next stage, right? Which
yeah.
I just wish he was a leftist doing. I just wish there was a leftist willing to play. This is another fucking. We're going too long, but
Mm.
the fact that Republicans understand that politics is, in inverted commas, a game. It's a system with rules, and you're trying to manipulate that system for maximum gain for your side, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that the right gets that and is willing to play the game,
Mm.
and the fact that the left is always like trying to play fair and that pisses me off so fucking much. Just do your fucking job
Yeah.
and get the shit.
Okay, so this is a good thing to transition into a final segment, I think, because I've got an idea for it, right?
Yeah.
Because I was going to open with it, but then the past debate happened. So I've got an idea, right? This is an idea. It's not a super serious idea, but maybe kind of whatever, right? I'm just throwing it out there and seeing how what it reacts, right? So we've got the Fediverse party, right?
Yeah.
The Fediverse party. It's not like other parties, right? Not like other girls. The point of the Fediverse party is fundamentally to be as wacky and as extreme as possible in the hopes of dragging by hook or by crook the Overton window to the left. So you have rather substantially, almost wacky, like left-wing policy. Not, so they're fun, they're light-hearted, right? It's almost like it treads the line between a parody party and like an activist party, right? And what you want to do is you want to present the most left-wing arguments in ways that are amusing and fun and novel, so you get the media attention, and then you sort of force the other parties to be like, well, we're not as extreme as them, we're not as wacky as them, so maybe you want to go with us because we're the more sensible version of what the silly things they're saying, right? So a little bit of the reform of the left, a little bit like Monster Raven Looney Party, a little bit, just like. So it's not a serious party, right? It is fun and games and antics because I think the left needs that. So that's a big thing.
Yeah.
But also,
so you'd be hoping for publicity more than votes, like
yes.
a UKIP party, or
yes, a little bit, and a little bit like our boy Phidias. So the idea of just so putting solid extreme left-wing positions on the table so that you have to because the trouble with the left in a lot of cases is that we come at where we're willing to compromise, right? Too quick to compromise.
Yeah.
So I want so with the party that's like, now we want universal basic income, £50,000 a year, thank you very much. We probably want all billionaires just to take their money and push them into the sea. Maybe that's a little bit too violent, but we'll let them get out of the sea. They're so
I like this. I like two reasons. First of all, yes, we need the left to be willing to play the fucking game and understand. Like, 'cause the left is inherently about cooperation and what lifts one of us lifts us all. What lifts all lifts blah blah blah.
Yeah,
that the left's whole shtick. In life, that should apply to life and policy, but they fail to realize that politics isn't that. Politics is a system where you're trying to pull levers to get advantage for the people you represent, and they're not fucking willing to do that because they apply that cooperative shit to So also, and this is ironic given that I'm ranting, but the left needs to be more fucking fun.
Yes, and likable, fun and likable,
Yeah. Not inane, not stupid. All clever, but fun. Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, and people are going to disagree with this. Nigel Farage, I see why he's likable.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, and we do kind of
I
lack
don't
that.
like him, but I get it.
Yeah, because the thing is, some people say that George Galloway is the thing of the Farage of the left, but he's not that likable.
He's not. No, no, he's
Um,
not. No, he's not likable. No,
and
no,
he's
he's
not
not.
even left wing really, to be honest.
He's not. He's not left, and he's not likable. So he fails up. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I do kind of find it amusing that he did lose his seat. He was like he got in for like 3 weeks. Did
I'm glad that formation went nowhere. Yeah,
yeah.
I think this has come up on Fedi as well with I forget there's that smart person who posts very economic-y political stuff, but in the places where the left has done well, it's been a left that is economically left and socially conservative, right? And I think something like that could probably do very well here. And I hope it never happens because I don't want that's just I don't want that.
No.
I want a proper left party that's socially liberal and economically left wing.
Well, it's the basic Marx thing of you're only free if you've got the money to like not die.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's, you know.
yeah.
But so this party, right? I've worked out it's got, like all good ideologies, it has a three-legged stool, right? So do you know that you're familiar with the old Republican three-legged stool, where they've got religious orthodoxy, war hawkishness, and corporate interests. They call it something else, but that's fundamentally it, right? So so the Fedi, right? Because it has to be like. The thing about the Fedi is that it's more of a spirit and a movement, right? Fedi is a very internationalist thing, right? So I want it to be trans everything, right?
Yeah,
it's all of the transes, right? But transnational. So it's like so you could apply this sort of like philosophy in any party, right? So we've got the three tenants, right? Catboys, right? One of the legged stools, right?
Yeah.
So Catboys represents the social liberation of being able to be who you want to be, no matter what tradition thinks or anything like that, right?
Why cat boys rather than cat girls?
Well, you'll see. You'll see. Oh, cat girls too, but I think cat boys in particular because they defy gender roles, right? Like cat girls are a little bit more. So but don't get me wrong, it's not exclusionary. All of this, it's more of a representation. This is like an icon, like a trinity, right? Then you've got catastrophizing, right? Because we see a lot of that on the Fedi. So I think we do have to be honest, and we do have to. It is a reflection, and sometimes it's like it's the catharsis and emotion of actually understanding that there is bad shit. So right, and then you've got the third, which is Cataday, where that represents our heritage and culture of largely just posting cat photos on Saturday. So that fundamentally means that doesn't
Cataday come from Twitter though?
Oh fuck! All right, okay. Comment section.
No,
I need your help here. I need a third leg on my stool.
That has to be cat related.
Well, it has to begin with the word cat.
I think it's okay that it came from Twitter. That is, in a sense, part of our heritage that we hate.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit like I was gonna say it's a bit like imperialism to us British people, right? Like it's a bit of a blemish, a scar. It's a thing that we'd rather we have to accept that is part of us as much as we'd like to just erase it from all existence, right? But anyway, yeah. So that's kind of like the broad idea. I
like it. I like it a lot. I think we do need fundamentally. We need a left reform. Something in the way that reform is fun for right wingers. We need something that would be fun for left wingers, which would be very different. But yeah.
And I'm open. Like I say, like I'm open to ideas. I want to share ideas. I just want to, but like I genuinely think because also the Fediverse is a meaningful thing, right? I think the Fediverse is an example of something truly great that was made by all kinds of people and coming together, right? It's not a billionaire who's deciding, it's not Mark Zuckerberg who's just pulled threads out of his ass and be like, okay, here you go,
proving that we can do it ourselves and share it and it works.
And sometimes it's chaotic, and sometimes it's like a beautiful disaster, but sometimes it's just a bunch of people getting to know each other who would never otherwise speak to each other. I think it's the best of the internet, because the internet, for all the problems that it can cause, it's educated me in a way that I would never have been educated by by formal means. Like, it's like you shared to me that YouTube channel the other day of the Vietnamese YouTube channel that talks about Vietnamese politics. I found that fascinating. That was a wonderful channel. I would never have been taught that in school.
It's a really, really, really good channel. I'll get the name so that we can actually name her.
Yeah, because it's absolutely fascinating. I love the vibe of it. It was straightforward. It had little cheeky jokes in it, but nothing too cutting. You know, it was very wholesome.
Yeah.
You know,
okay, the channel's called Luna Oi with an exclamation mark. So Luna like the moon, Oi like oi oi oi, and an exclamation mark.
Absolutely lovely. Yeah, and again, I've only seen a couple of episodes, so like, you know,
she's really good. She's really good. Yeah, and she's not trying to be super presented, super like slick. She's just her, but she's charismatic and fun.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm throwing the Fediverse party idea out there.
I like it. I'm on board.
We could call it party by name, party by nature, or something like that. I don't know. But you know, and yeah, like, it's all a fluid idea. But I genuinely, like, because I kind of have this like idea, this little bit of a political fantasy, if you will, of standing for the pirate party, but as a pirate. So
you mentioned that before.
Because it's like, because I generally, I think the Pirate Party, even though their manifestos or their policies, like everything I've read from them, it's relatively short and brief, which is kind of nice. Because if you read the Green Party's policy document, it's like fucking 1,000 pages, because it's been like it's been chopped and changed for the past 50 years. So and they've taken out a lot of the wacky stuff I really liked about the Green Party. Like, the Green Party used to explicitly have a pro dirigibles policy in their standing policy document, and they took it out because they thought because there was a period where the media would just go through the policy document, it would find the craziest stuff, and it would use that as news sound bites to look at, see, oh, how wacky the Greens are because they're in favour of silly things like dirigibles. I have never seen I've seen a hot air balloon, but not like a proper airship. I've never seen a proper airship. I want to see a proper airship. I want to go on a proper airship. They look so cool, and they look like a much more carbon effective way of air travel. Just putting it out.
I think I met last time you mentioned this. I think they actually in what's the book called that I keep telling you should read? Ministry for the Future. Yeah, so spoilers. In the end, they replace air travel with literally dirigibles and sea travel with wind powered boats again.
That's amazing.
Wind and solar boats and stuff. Yeah, and so travel becomes this thing where you accept that it's going to take you a week to get to America. So but you get like a very nice cabin with an office in it, so you can continue doing your work. You're hooked up to the internet, and it's just the pace of everything is slowed down is part of the point, and it's nice.
There was a period where there was something of a campaign to put more freight on canals, because whilst it is a lot slower, it's a lot more carbon friendly. Or
part of the part of the point of these trade networks we've got is it doesn't matter how slow things travel. That's completely irrelevant, because you plan ahead. You know how many you need a week or a month or whatever. As long as that many are coming in, then it doesn't matter at what speed they're getting there.
And I'm sure
that's the problem with a lot of the when tech bros reinvent freight trains. I actually watched a video again linked by Anjun, and they don't understand that speeding these things up actually confers no benefits for freight. There's no benefit to freight moving faster.
No, I mean, it doesn't. Most freight move relatively slowly through, canal through big freight ships anyway.
Yeah, I mean, a lot slower now that it has to go around Africa rather than through the canal.
Yeah. I believe I saw a Tom Scott video talking about making. Is it? Was it either dredging the Mediterranean or something? Or putting a canal through. Oh, forget it. Never mind. But yeah. Anyway, Fediverse party. What I'll do actually is I want to put this. I'll clip this particular segment and put that as a separate video as well as this thing, because I kind of want to, like, I don't want to bury that, because we fundamentally buried the Trump thing, and I think rightfully so.
The title of this one should be Fedi Party Launch.
Yeah, and you got to watch to the end. I know YouTubers used to do that when they were trying to span out their watch time. They put the last thing in the title.
Freddy Party launch party.
Yeah, but and also costumes. You know, like let's do costumes. You know,
Not mandatory because some people don't enjoy that.
No, not
include myself in that. I like dressing. I like dressing utilitarian.
Yeah. No, definitely. You know, costumes optional, but yeah.
But encouraged if you want it.
Yeah. Like it's. I like the wackiness. I like the fun. You know, yeah. So joy, frivolity, and also because like, you know, I like if you go to like see the left can potentially do this, right? We have drag bars, for fuck's sake. They're very joyful places. Why is that not in our politics?
I don't think they're inherently of the left. I'm actually a little bit uncomfortable with partly with like drag is a thing that has existed pretty much since humans existed.
Yeah.
Right? The Greeks fucking loved it. Like it's not new, and I find it weird when people think it's this new thing and this symbol of some kind of achievement. Like it's cool. I'm happy for it, but I don't know. Not quite. I'm very tired. To be clear, I'm not entirely sure what my point is.
Well, I think no, you're right. I mean, you're totally right. But when I say drag, I do mean like the drag bars on you get sloshed out on a night out, right? Like that's I mean that's been around since drinking culture, right? Or it's been around, I don't know, when you know that drag in that form.
I also think it can be a bit it's a little bit, it feels a little bit like gay bars in the 90s when it first became kind of socially acceptable for straight people to go to gay bars, and then straight people would start going to gay bars like in preference. And then essentially, not super fond of the misuse of this word, and then essentially gay bars get colonized by straight people.
Yeah.
And it's a form of exoticization. It's even if you don't believe it is. If you're a straight person going to a gay bar, you're going on to some degree. You're going for like a sort of a spectacle to look at these people. You know what I mean? And I'm not fond of that.
I know what you mean, and it's definitely like it's definitely a phenomena. Like we've all seen the the Hindus that go to gay bars and sort of cringe at all that kind of stuff. Totally, but also if we're going to go down that route, men and gay men in general are awful for doing that to gay bars as well. Like I do feel very sorry for lesbians, to be honest, when they're trying, because it's so hard to date as a lesbian. Even within the queer community, it's just like every lesbian I know just has such a hard time of it, and they're lovely people, and it just seems that like it's they go out and they just see an army of twinks in hot shorts, and it's like nothing for them. They I don't know,
the disappearance of, I know, like it's a huge problem for lesbians. The disappearance of lesbian bars and lesbian bookshops used to be a big thing as well.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just feel really bad about that too. But but also like this stuff, like being your authentic self and all that. I know it's a bit like Instagram-y, but like it should be celebrated and encouraged and stuff like
that. But I having drag queens as like the fetishized symbol of that. I can't quite articulate it, but there's something about that makes me uncomfortable.
It's
not, to be clear, it's not drag queens making me uncomfortable. Not at all uncomfortable. In fact, I had a tutor at college that was in drag the whole time they were. In fact, it was kind of funny because they were the tutor for my video course at university, and I recognized them from late night Channel 4 stuff. They were sort of semi-famous, late night Channel 4 had all the sort of like, inverted commas, weird stuff on it. And I was like, and it took me like 30 minutes to like place them. I was like, and I just sort of shouted out mid talk to the class kind of thing. I was like, were you on Channel 4? Like, were you like that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he points at the telly? I love that one. You were on Channel 4. Yeah. So that was me just saying, I'm not like being homophobic or anti-drag here. I feel like we should let these people have their spaces and not encroach, and also not use them as symbols. And when I say these people, I mean any marginalized.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, I was really using it as like an example of the.
No, I'm not suggesting for a second you were doing that. You're like the opposite. It's like it's giving them a yeah. No, I get that.
But it's.
I know you're not that person.
Yeah. So, but yeah, like it's but we can do joy on the left. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
It's just that we got to apply it.
Yeah, all sorts is what we want. Any sorts.
Yeah. It's that like it's that vibrancy of being who you are, right? And not being afraid of it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes down to safety as well, right? Like it's being among friends, right? It's important, and and everyone should feel safe, right? Cool. All right, should we wrap it up there?
We should. Yeah. I think we've gone significantly over 2 hours.
We have. Sorry about that, everybody. But if you're still with us, thank you very much.
All right, if you made it to the end, comment.
Yeah. So
we've got to say more, but just comment.
Comments really all. We just want to hear what you've got to say. We don't have Twitters or whatever. Well, I've explained my Twitter. Yeah. The comments are the best, and to be honest, they're infinitely better than they are on YouTube. I know I say this every time, but
they really are.
Yeah. So, okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Drew. And
thank you, Chris.
This has been the Dagoth Hour, or Dagoth Hour.
Dagoth. It's always the option you don't say. You can't. You always go, I can't remember whether it's Dagoth or Dagoth. I'm like, it's Dagoth.
Dagoth. Okay. Toodaloo.